Welcome everyone to the June meeting of TV Toastmasters. Club 9523 is in session. I'd like to welcome all of our viewers at home and everyone here in the studio. And I would like to introduce our Toastmaster for today, Kormelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, our TV Toastmaster members, and our welcome guest, Tom Meyer. We welcome you and thank you for coming to visit TV Toastmasters. We hope that you will enjoy your day here. If you all have an agenda in front of you, and you'll notice that our meeting is divided into three parts. We have the impromptu speaking part, where we have the grammarian, the word power, the table topics, and then we have our prepared speakers. And if you will notice, there is a change on the agenda. There will be one speech today, Rick Barron. And then we have the feedback, listening and responding. And that will be the general evaluator is Sheila Baker. And we will have Michelle Hanekes will be evaluating Rick Barron's speech. We'll have the grammarian all-counter report from Jerome, and then Mary Arms with the timer report. And then we will return the meeting. Oh, I forgot to change the name there to Carol Kormelink, back to the Toastmaster. And then to the president, and we'll have our installation of officers off camera. So I would like to start our meeting today, and I'd also like to say happy birthday to Linda Ketchum, who could not be here today because she is officiating at a wedding in Dayton. And Steve Ehrenholtz could not be here because he has been deployed to the Gulf to help clean up the oil leakage. So we're missing a few of our regular steady members. I would like to start off by welcoming our word power, word counter, Jerome Manigan, and he will explain his role, and he's very thorough. So I would like to welcome Jerome Manigan, who is an advanced Toastmaster Silver and a competent leader. And he is working on his next book. Jerome Manigan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. To my fellow Toastmasters, my function is to listen to each of you very, very carefully as you present today in front of your fellow Toastmasters. What will I be listening for? I will be listening to see if you use linguistic devices that would suggest that you are trying to collect your thoughts so that you can move from where you are to where you want to be. Many times we do that by the use of uhs and ahs and other devices that give us a moment of time to collect our thoughts so that we can move to the next place. So, I will be doing that, but I will not be doing it covertly because I have told you I'm going to be doing that. But our word of the day is covert. Oh. Covert. What does covert mean? Not openly known. So you cannot say, well, Jerome was covertly listening for my ahs and linguistic devices, because I told you I was going to do that. Not openly known or shown. Nope, not openly known or showed. Veiled. Secret. It's no secret. I'm going to be listening for your oohs and ahs. Covert. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Word Power, Marion. Actually, not being covert is one of my faults. I am too open. I've never had a filtered thought, so I am not covert, and it would be good if I were sometime. And I did forget to mention, no one beat me up. I was in Florida on vacation, walking back sidewalk, a 2-mile walk every morning before breakfast, and my head hit the sidewalk, so I have a few abrasions, but I didn't break anything. So the meeting with the sidewalk was not good, but it wasn't all that bad either. The challenge is for you to use covert every time you're up here, as many times as you can. Our Tabletopics master, this is the fun part of the meeting. Some people, when they first come to Toastmasters, go, oh, I hope they don't call on me, I hope they don't call on me, and then they can't wait to be called on when they have Tabletopics. Darren is an advanced communicator bronze, and he will be our topics master today. Darren Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Tabletopics Master. As Carol mentioned, this is the part of the meeting where you can practice your impromptu speaking skills. So Toastmasters are great because you run the sprint with the table topics, then you run the marathon with the speeches. So you really get all the bases covered. And the questions are somewhat covert in that I will ask the question, then select a person to answer. So this is actually my favorite part of the meeting. I think this is where you really learn to develop some different skills. And this first question is very appropriate as we have a member of our club who was down in the Gulf helping with the oil spill. But the Gulf oil spill has been a horrific disaster on many fronts. Has the oil spill changed your gas buying habits? Would you support a boycott of BP, and would you still shop at BP? Michelle, could you answer that question?
So that's a really good question because I think everyone, when this first oil spill started, we didn't think it was as bad it was going to be, and I think over the last couple weeks it has just evolved, and there's been a lot of definite negative side effects. And I personally, I think I would support a boycott of BP, and that's because I don't think they handled it in the right manner initially. I think they waited too long to get into action and to start correcting the mistakes or to putting the people in the place that needed to correct the mistakes. So personally, I think it's something we should all do together is boycott them, maybe start looking at other places to shop for gas. And actually, I hadn't even thought of that, Darren, at this point in time. I actually went to Speedway yesterday, but I don't think I would have stopped going to BP until you just kind of mentioned this. So yeah, personally, I think that would be a good idea. Thank you.
That's a tough question for me personally because I was actually a frequent shopper at BP because I have a cousin who works at a BP refinery. So I actually made an effort to shop at BP in the past. So now I'm trying to decide whether I should change my habits or not. The World Cup is ongoing in South Africa. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world, believe it or not, but it is definitely the most popular sport in the world. Do you think it will ever be as popular as football or baseball in this country? Paul?
Thank you, Darren. Jerome, get your timer out. I'm one of these ooh and ah persons, so let's see if I can do it. Maybe keep the ooh and ahs to a covert, push it back a little bit in a covert manner. Soccer. I played soccer. When I played soccer, I'm 46 now. It wasn't the hot thing in high school. So I wasn't really that good of an athlete, but I actually started soccer. So our team was I went to a school called Covington Catholic. It was over in northern Kentucky, and we didn't have a good soccer team. Whether or not it's going to be more popular, I think like anything else, the world is meshing. People communicate a lot more. The typical sports here in the United States are football, basketball, and baseball. Little kids play soccer. What I've seen with my kids is soccer, all the little kids play soccer. And at one point, about 7 or 8 years old, they determine, particularly I have 2 boys, so I can't really talk for the girls, but it seems like girls play more soccer than the boys. But it becomes less popular when they're 7 or 8 years old and they try to decide, I'm going to play baseball and football and not soccer. But I think that's changing. I think as more and more children play soccer, and it starts when you're a kid, that it's going to become more and more popular. And soccer's on TV, and actually I was my 9-year-old, who is a rabid sports fan, he still doesn't like soccer. He wants to play football. He's a football player, but this morning, before I came, he was riveted to the television. I think Japan and the Netherlands were playing soccer. So it's kind of tweaking into his mentality. And I think in the future, that may be a metaphor for the United States, that once we see it more and more, we keep saying we're going to play football and baseball and basketball, but we'll wind up doing it as little kids, getting used to it, and I think it will become more and more popular in the future. Thank you.
I have to admit, this is the first World Cup I've ever watched because my son recently started playing soccer, so now I'm actually taking an interest. But if you've ever watched a World Cup soccer match this time, the big problem is that all the people in the stadium have these horns that are native to South Africa. You just hear this buzz throughout the whole game, which is very annoying. But this week we will see the first day of summer. Well, that actually occurred next week. And, of course, summer brings on all kind of fond memories from my youth, I know. Can you think of some particularly fond memories from your youth and how that revolves around summer? Gordon?
My youth is covert to everyone here in this studio or in our audience today, out in Cincinnati, northern Kentucky. I was actually raised in the country, went to school in the country, and most of my summer days, and I do think of these days once in a while, but I spent a lot of time running up and down the creeks, the little rivers, fishing. I like to fish. As a kid, though, I can recall one story. There was a gentleman that had fished and caught some bass, and he had them in a bucket out in the creek, and of course I was a little guy, and I was going up the creek, and I just happened to spot this bucket with these bass in it, and thought I'd play with these bass. Of course, the bass got out, and they took off, and I took off too, and I don't know what the guy ever did when he went back to get his bass, but they weren't there. So I was raised in that sort of an environment. Summer today, if I bring things up to today, this summer I'm looking forward to visiting in Branson, Missouri, actually, in about 2 weeks with 2 of my sons and 3 grandsons. So it's kind of going to be a Kelly type get-together, and it's going to be interesting because I'm Gordon Kelly, my son is Gordon Kelly II, and we have a Gordon Kelly III. Then we also have another grandson, so we'll be doing that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Sheila, Gordon told us about some summertime memories of his youth. What plans do you have for this summer so you can have new memories?
Well, I plan to spend a lot of time in this building. I'm in Jack and the Giant, which is Beachmont Players, a children's play, and I get to play for the very first time in my life, a chicken. A chicken. I am a chicken. Of course, that is the center of the entire play. Not Jack, not the Giant, but I get to be a chicken. I'm very excited. Also, every July, a group of us go to Martha's Vineyard. We split a house 20 ways. It's a huge house, but the cost is affordable. And we go to the beach. And as my brother has pointed out, this might be our last time for the beach because the oil will get into the currents and come up. So I'm hoping he's wrong. I'm hoping that it stays contained. But I'm looking forward to Martha's Vineyard on a very affordable basis. I'm looking forward to being a chicken and racing my way through the audience and bothering little children by squawking and clucking at them. And other than that, I don't have much planned for the summer. So those are good memories to have.
Sounds pretty busy to me, Sheila. Maybe not to you. Finally, the statue known as Touchdown Jesus, as I'm sure you all heard, was struck by lightning and burned down this week. Now, I've heard on the news that the estimate cost for replacement may be as high as $500,000, which is a lot of money for a statue, I understand, made of plastic and styrofoam. But it is a large statue, so I understand. But if you were a parishioner, would you support rebuilding that statue for that cost? Don?
Thank you, Darren. That's an interesting question, and one that is a current topic around Cincinnati, especially among drivers driving down 75, up and down 75. They cause a lot of traffic jams and get some tickets and so on. Just to stop and see the remains of Touchdown Jesus, or what's the other one? Big Butter Jesus. It's very humorous. But God told me that he didn't like that statue, and that's why he struck it down. And if they build another one, he's going to strike that one down too. So that's my thoughts about that. So.
Thanks, Don. That's a great way to end our table topics. I'd like to return control to our Toastmaster, Carol Kormelink.
Thank you, Darren. Don, you made the table topics. Very good. That's when you can make the table topics fun. That's what makes the meeting fun, when you're having fun. And my club is fun. If we aren't having fun, we're missing out. We have improvised on the cards. If you're up here speaking and wondering when you're going to get to green, it's a card that's held up. It's yellow and it says green card. So you'll know when you reach your minimum time. And then you'll see the yellow and the red. So that's what being versatile is, what you learn in Toastmasters, how to cope and make things work.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Speaker today, Rick Barron. He will be delighting us with a speech from number 4 in the manual, which is how to say it, and it's enjoy the ride. And we will be looking that he uses simple words and we understand what he's saying and understand his speech real well. Rick is a certified life success consultant and the host of a program on this television station, Henderson Public Access Television, entitled Cause and Success. And he presents practical tools that make wealth a predictable result in your life.
It had been over an hour since I started the precise preparation that was necessary to get myself and my scuba gear ready to explore the dark, deep, green, cold waters of Gilboa Stone Quarry. I was leaning against a picnic table with my dry suit on, wearing over 100 pounds of gear, with 3 layers of long underwear in the summer heat. The sweat is pouring down my face, running into my eyes. I can feel one lone drop of sweat rolling slowly down my back, underneath my underwear. Reminds me of a drop of molasses coming down the side of the bottle, slowly down the side of the bottle. I use my legs to lift myself and all of that gear off of the table. I reach down, I grab my fins and my mask, and I start the slow process of walking down to the dock. When I reach the ramp, I grab the handrail and slowly shuffle as I go down that ramp, reminiscent of an elderly gentleman holding on to his cane or his walker, trying to keep himself from falling over. As I get down to the dock, I position myself so I can try to balance myself precisely as I reach down and try to put on my fins, trying to keep from rolling over onto my back like a turtle who's stuck in the middle of the road. Once I get my fins on, I put my mask on my head, I pull my hood over top, and the summer heat begins to fog the inside. I start that slow shuffle like a pregnant penguin protecting her young to get to the edge of the dock. When I reach the edge of the dock, I do some final checks, look down below me to make sure there's no one in the way, cover my face and my regulator with my hand, put my other hand over my chest, and take a giant stride off the dock into the water. As I race down towards the surface of the water, when I break the surface, the pressure forces the extra air out of my dry suit through the vent in my shoulder, similar to a race car rocketing out of a tunnel. I can feel the cold quarry water as it begins to cool my skin, and it feels good. I dip my face into the water to refresh myself and to clear the fog from my mask. And I begin to think, what happened to those Caribbean dives? The blue water, the warm water, the wonderful experience of putting on a tank, some fins, and a mask, and exploring the wonderful world down below. What happened to those carefree days of scuba diving in the summer sun of the Caribbean? I raise my face out of the water and review my plan with my buddies. I put my regulator back in my mouth and slowly descend into the cold, dark, green water of the stone quarry. As I descend, I'm reminded of a skydiver plummeting towards the earth as they fly through the air. With my buddies there, right there with me, we're headed down to our depth of 120 feet. As we go down, I press the button on the chest of my dry suit to add air to the dry suit to provide buoyancy, to keep me from bouncing off the bottom, and to provide a cushion of air around me for warmth. We level off at our depth of 120 feet and begin the process of exploring the quarry. Our lights cut through the cold darkness of the 40-degree water. We kick very slowly as we go through the dark depths. And it suddenly dawns on me the prize that I'm searching for. Shipwrecks in Lake Huron. This dive and the dives before it were practice dives for our trip to Lake Huron, where we would go explore shipwrecks, sunken pieces of history that are down there for us to explore and enjoy. We need to make sure that we enjoy the process as much as the destination. Similar to a student who's working and studying at the same time. A mother who comes home from work to do laundry, to cook, and to help with homework at the same time. A factory worker or an executive who work overtime or a weekend because they've cut staff and everybody's asked to do a little bit more. It's difficult sometimes to enjoy the process because we're just so caught up in it. When that roller coaster pulls into the station and its members are sitting in that car screaming and yelling, do you think they're celebrating the end of the ride or the journey that they had through the entire ride? They're celebrating the journey and the opportunity to do it again. As we're going through life, we ask that you keep your destination in mind. Keep it in mind, but roll down the window, put down the top, let off the accelerator, look around, and enjoy the ride. Madam Toastmaster?
Thank you, Rick, for that wonderful speech. And I'm glad that you reminded us about the journey is more important than the destination. I've been going to Florida for 55 years, and driving, I always hated it because I wanted to get there. And I've since learned, and thank you for reminding, that it's the journey. If you enjoy the journey, the destination is all that much more enjoyable. And I said, I'm not going to drive 2.5 days to Florida when I can drive 2.5 hours.
Thank you very much. And now for our next speaker, Stanley Glitchner.
Speaking in public doesn't have to be a death sentence. At Toastmasters, we can help you overcome your fears.
We like to give feedback from the individual members. You have a ballot and brief evaluation in front of you, and if you will please write some words of encouragement to Rick, and we will now turn the meeting over to our general evaluator, who will go through the feedback part of the program. Our general evaluator today is Sheila Mudd Baker, Distinguished Toastmaster. Sheila Mudd Baker. This gives them the wave of energy to get up here.
Thank you. Well, actually, we do have another speech today, do we not?
No.
We don't. Wow, this is the first time ever we've only had one speech. So, let me start with, we put the place together and we were ready in practically no time this morning. We've been on time, and I'm excited that we have pretty much of a full house. And so that's my evaluation for the meeting so far, but let me add that my major job is to introduce our evaluator, and our evaluator for Rick Barron is Michelle Henniges. Please welcome her.
Well, I have covertly enjoyed watching Rick speak every time. You make it a hard time to evaluate because there's not much for you to improve on. I have to say, today was a very enjoyable speech, and each time I have enjoyed it. So Rick was supposed to be very specific with his speech. He was supposed to use vivid words and be very descriptive, to also incorporate rhetorical devices, and I think you nailed that one, but we'll talk a little bit more about that, and also to be grammatically correct. On a personal standpoint, which is, I liked Rick coming to me and actually giving me some personal goals as well, so not only what the speech is supposed to do from a development standpoint, he also had some things he specifically wanted to focus on, and that was to make sure he smiled at the start, that he focused on the camera and not the audience as much, and that he stood erect when he shook hands. So let's kind of step back a little bit. I felt like I was on that scuba dive. There was some very, very vivid descriptions of the water, of the gear, and you did a great job of putting in the similes and the metaphors. I mean, the pregnant penguin, the elderly gentleman, the comparison of molasses to sweat. I would have never thought of that, but you did a great job of bringing it into context. You were also grammatically correct. You avoided jargon. I don't believe you used any words that had double meanings or that were hard for us to understand. So you were very clear and precise with your vocabulary. So great job on that. You also did the triage, which is to express ideas in threes. I picked up several of those. So great job on putting in the rhetorical devices. As far as your personal goals, you smiled. I made sure I watched for the smile at the beginning. The only thing that you focused on the crowd quite a bit, so that might have been the only feedback that I have as far as you didn't do excellent. And then you did stand erect with shaking the hand. As far as the content of the speech, I think it's a great message. It was the way you started out, you took us along on the ride, and then you kind of referred to the Caribbean, and which that's what I would want to be doing, is diving in the Caribbean. But you brought it back, and you were clear on what your message was. Is wait a second, I need to make sure I enjoy the ride the whole way. So fantastic job. I'm sorry I don't have more feedback, but I think you nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. The general evaluator also calls on two people to give announcements, to give reports on how the meeting was going. And our first person is Jerome Manigan, who is our counter and our word master.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and congratulations on all of the performances you have given so far this year and the one that you're going to be giving at this very location in July. A chicken, that's going to be great. As I said to you at the beginning of the meeting, my function is to call to your attention those linguistic devices that are employed to hold our place so that we can collect our thoughts so we can get to the next place. Rick, during the introduction, used one, Carol, after my introduction, you used one, and later in your presentation, you used another, Paul, you have made tremendous progress.
Under 50.
Tremendous progress. And you're a good speaker. I always enjoy listening to you. Very good speaker. You had 9. Darren, you are a master communicator. You had 2. Gordon, today you were the master communicator. You had 1. Sheila, I hate to say it. Close. Add 1 to it. 6. 6. But that says something about your awareness as a presenter and as an actress. You're very conscious of what you're saying and how you are presenting yourself to your audience. 6. Rick, excellent speech, very vivid. I don't think that the speech required you to use physical gestures, did it?
Did not require me to.
You were excellent. Very good. 7. Michelle, very good and effective evaluation of Rick's speech. 6. for the use of the word covert. You knew I was not being covert. You knew that I was going to stand before you and tell you. But before I can tell you the number of coverts that were used, or at least the people who used the word of the day, covert, I have to go back. Don, you thought I was going to not say anything about that $250 million statue on I-75. 6. Covert was used by Carol, Darren, Michelle, Paul, and Gordon, and I believed I used covert also. Now, I'm going to make this suggestion to you. If you appeared on camera, you will receive a copy of today's program, courtesy of TV Toastmasters via United States mail, sometimes called snail mail. When it arrives, take it out, put it in your DVD player, and sit there and listen for your uhs and ahs. Come back to the next meeting and say, Jerome, you did an excellent job of tallying my oohs, ahs, and covert. Thank you very much.
And our final report, Mary Arms, who is our timer.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Now, I do the timing, and I will report on all of you, so watch out. Now, on the table topics, Michelle, you were 1 minute and 1 second. Paula, you were 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Gordon, 1 minute and 24 seconds. Sheila, 1 minute and 19 seconds. And Don, 53 seconds. Rick, excellent speech. And it was 7 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, on the evaluation, Michelle, you were 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Jerome, on your word power, you were 1 minute and 30 seconds. And you're on your grammarian, 4 minutes and 25 seconds. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. All in all, a fine meeting, and let us return the meeting to our Toastmaster, Carol Kormelink.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, hey, hello, sorry. But seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Farmer says, doctor says, chicken says...
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken...
And thank you all for a wonderful meeting. At this point in time, we do ask that the comments, oh, he already left. So our guest will not be here to give us his comments on the meeting. He had another meeting to go to, so he had to slip out. And he slipped out so quietly, I didn't even know that he did that. Very good. I will now return control of the meeting to our president, and we have a few items of business to take care of. So let us welcome our president, Rick Davis, Distinguished Toastmaster and founder of TV Toastmasters.
If
we feel like we're out of control, we're directorless at the moment. I wanted to talk about the Distinguished Club program, and we are distinguished. We achieved 6 of the 10 goals for TV Toastmasters. We have two CCs, Linda Ketchum and Steve Aaronholtz this year. We have all of our, Tiffany Evans gave us a Advanced Leader Silver. Linda Ketchum gave us an Advanced Leader Silver. And all of our officers went to training, or 7 out of 7 the last, the first training, and 5 out of 7 the second. And we've also submitted everything on time. So we are distinguished, and congratulations to everyone in the club for their efforts. We're going to do a transition ceremony for the new officers. This will be my last meeting as president, and we'll do that off camera, though. So I think what we should do is go ahead and close the meeting, and thank you all for coming. Thank everyone for watching in today, and TV Toastmasters Club 9523 is closed.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join a Toastmasters Club.